An agent would send his clients to a property with a lockbox code.
Without the agent
being
there,
present.
okay. I can see that being a problem. That's kind of obvious.
Right? The rules just provide some consistency to some standards in which realtors are supposed to operate.
Which you would like to think are kind of common sense and decency, but
sometimes common sense isn't that common.
I've had quite a few clients call and ask me, are virtual twilight photos okay? Is that okay?
No.
No?
We have to accurately represent the property. The rules now require the members to update their listings by 11:59 p.m. of the following business day.
Rules. Nobody likes rules. Did you know that the term real estate originally comes from 15th century England, where land was measured in reels of fabric? So King Henry VIII declared that any dwelling measuring at least 1 reel will be considered real estate. Now, what you just heard was complete BS, but I promise you that as of right now, this is the Zero BS Real Estate Podcast. If you're a real estate agent, you know that the industry is unpredictable, full of challenges, but it's also full of successes and unique stories that often go untold. This podcast is about giving realtors and industry leaders a platform to share their lived experiences, the highs, the lows, the lessons they've learned along the way. Now, given that I'm not a realtor myself, I want to bring a fresh perspective to these conversations, ask questions that others might not think to ask, challenge assumptions, and explore the why behind the way things are done. This is an unfiltered space where we uncover what really works, what doesn't, and what it's like to build a career in real estate today. This first episode of the podcast is brought to you by my own company, Reid Media Agency. Proven marketing made simple for top realtors in the East GTA and Northumberland. Book your shoot today at reidmediaagency.ca. In this episode, I had the pleasure to sit down with Vicky Sweeney, the president of the Central Lakes Association of Realtors, as well as Tracy McCormick and Wendy Giroux. We talked about the new MLS rules, the evolving role of real estate associations in the industry, and I learned a little bit about how they advocate for agents, buyers, and sellers. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, so without further ado, let's meet our very first guest on the podcast. It's the president of the Central Lakes Association of Realtors, Vicky Sweeney.
Hi.
How's it going, Vicky?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be your first, I guess, interview.
Yeah. Well, we're glad to have you. Have you ever been on a podcast before?
Not a podcast. No, this is my first one.
Okay. Well, I've never hosted a podcast before either, so I guess we'll figure it out together.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So, what we're going to talk about today, Vicky?
We're just going to talk about CLAR. What's our association all about?
Yeah.
I think maybe you have a few questions for me. We'll talk about the new MLS rules.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about the rules. That's one thing that a lot of people have had major questions about. So we'll speak about that. We'll invite Tracy McCormick.
Yeah.
Did I get the name right?
McCormick.
Why do I always say McCormick?
I know.
Sorry, Tracy. We'll invite Tracy McCormick to come and join us just to give her input into that. But first, let's find out a little bit about you, right? And about CLAR. So, Vicky, you've been in real estate for quite a while?
Yeah. So I was licensed in 2011.
Okay.
Yeah. I always wanted to be involved in real estate somehow. My mom was involved in the mortgage side when we were kids.
Right.
Our Sunday afternoons were driving around to open houses. So.
Okay. Yeah. So you kind of you were in it before you were in it.
Yeah. It was sometimes a realtor would come to the door and I'd be like, wow, they're so flashy and fancy.
And that's set your aspiration. Wow. Wow. Mm-hmm. And so, like, what was it that made you then dive in and like go from that aspiration to then like becoming a realtor and everything that you had to do?
What was it that finally, I was in between jobs and I decided I was going to take in kids. My kids were really young and I thought, oh, maybe I'll try some home daycare.
Right.
And kudos to those people who do that, because it's a difficult job trying to help raise other people's children. And it wasn't for me. It's not my personality. Right. I liked going out to work. So it was at that time with my partner, I was like, you know what? I think I want to give this a shot. And at the time I was like, okay, I don't have any other option but to succeed.
Right.
So that's the mentality I went into.
Right.
Yeah.
Your kind of involvement with CLAR, and now you being the president. How did you go from being a realtor to becoming, to actually putting yourself forward as president for CLAR? And like, what experiences as a realtor made you feel that you wanted to serve the realtor community in this way that you're doing now as president?
So it's funny. It wasn't really my idea to get involved in the organized real estate. It was a manager at the time.
Okay.
She encouraged me to put my name forward. And at that time, I didn't really know what was involved in organized real estate. So I made the decision to put my name forward. There was, some of my mentors and people I looked up to in the industry in the area were involved in organized real estate. So,
what do you mean when you say organized real estate? I don't. What is that?
Organized real estate. So there's 3 levels of organized real estate. So there's your local level, so that would be CLAR,
right?
And then there's the provincial level, which would be AREA, and then there's the Canadian Real Estate Association, REA.
Okay, so this is again. I'm not a real estate agent, so. You're going to have to dumb it down for me. So organized real estate is basically the authority is the authorities that govern the real estate profession, basically at the different levels.
So at different levels, RICO is our registrar. So they're who we answer to. Like if somebody does something really bad, our local level represent our members in the good and the bad.
So this is CLAR.
So CLAR, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell me more about CLAR and again, try to dumb it down for me, right? Tell me what does CLAR actually do and what is CLAR?
This is where I would want Wendy to come and sit with us. I mean, I don't know if there's anything...
No, we'll bring Wendy in. So Wendy is the CEO of CLAR?
Yes. So she's our leader.
Okay. Your fearless leader, would you say?
Fearless leader.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let's bring in Wendy...
Giroux.
Wendy Giroux.
Giroux. Yeah.
Let's bring in Wendy Giroux. So welcome, Wendy. Thanks for joining us. And Vicky tells us that you are the fearless leader of CLAR.
Well, I'm the operations side. She's the governance side. So I run the actual operations, HR, and all our team.
Right.
CLAR.
So you make sure that everything happens.
Yes.
Okay, good. And I was just saying to Vicky before, because I'm not a realtor, you're going to really need to dumb it down for me, right? So could you tell me, because I still don't really understand, what is CLAR and what does CLAR do?
Okay. Central Lakes Association of Realtors is the new integrated association of 5 associations that came together in 2023. So Durham Region, which was our first one, Northumberland Hills, Quintian District, Peterborough and the Kawarthas, and the Kawartha Lakes all came together and integrated. So we now have over 2,600 members here at the Central Lakes, and we are a not-for-profit, and we run all the everything that the realtors need to succeed.
Wow. And so that covers a massive area as well. So it's from Pickering, is it?
So our area goes from Pickering all the way to Deserano, up to Bancroft, Uxbridge, Port Perry. We have a massive region.
That is a big footprint.
And we're doing our best to make sure the whole region is included in our events.
Right. I'm going to have to ask the question again because I still don't totally know. What does CLAR do?
So that was what CLAR is.
Yeah.
What CLAR does. So most importantly, we offer the MLS system to our members. Right. So the realtor wants to get up and turn on their computer and have the access to the MLS system. I know you're going to go into the rules after, but MLS system, is fed down from realtor.ca, and that they want to make sure that they have the data that they can work with their clients.
And so CLAR administrates the MLS for this region.
So we purchase our MLS system through PropTech's Innovation Systems,
right,
and offer it to our members.
Right. Okay. Okay. So you you set up the infrastructure and run that so that realtors can list properties for sale and can access those listings.
Yeah, I mean that's one aspect. There's so many more.
Like what?
Yeah. So I don't know. There's advocacy. So we represent our members at all levels of government and talk to them about issues that would affect a buyer or seller or a realtor.
Right. Okay. So for new policy, new legislation, whatever it is that might cause changes. That's something that you advocate for your members on, so that their interest can be heard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And what kind of things would that be? Like, what if you think of a recent example?
So one of the biggest ones that happened in 2024 was the Auditor General put a recommendation forward to shut a whole bunch of the water testing facilities, and we heard about that right away, and we advocated our MPs, MPPs especially, because it's a provincial legislation, but also talked to our local mayors, because we wanted to make sure that these water testing facilities stayed open.
Right.
It's very important to our realtors to be able to test the water for our clients. Special rural, that's important. If your water,
right.
We've seen what happened in Walkerton. We did not want that to happen across Ontario.
And so is that then a case of, there were policymakers who were kind of looking at the information and thinking, oh, well, we don't need all of this. So they made a decision without actually taking into consideration how it would affect realtors, but also homeowners and people buying houses. And they just didn't give any thought to that?
The policy people were the exact same people that privatized blood tests.
Right.
and your labs. So they would have took those water testing facilities and made those privatized as well.
Right. So what happened then? How did you advocate for that, and what was the result?
Yeah, we hosted roundtables with some MPs, MPPs, any opportunity we had to reach out to those decision makers.
Right.
We did. Yeah, it was a huge effort.
Right. And what was the outcome then? Were they left open? They're open. Yeah. That's amazing.
And at CLAR, we were grassroots. So we started it, we heard about it, and we advocated. Not only did we advocate local government, but we advocated all the other associations on Ontario to be with us. And we sent out policy papers that they could also give to their MPPs and talk to them. So, and we didn't want it to close.
So what would have been the consequence, would you say, if they had closed? How would that have affected, realtors and buyers and sellers if that had gone ahead?
Yeah, so right now it's a free testing site,
right.
And had they taken those away, then realtors would have had to pay for it. A property can't close without good water.
Right.
So it would have been a huge challenge to get it timely, especially. So
people would have been unable to sell their homes then, or would have had issues with closings
just
and delays and
delays. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
and cost.
And cost,
because
right.
It would go privatized.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's one of those things that, from one small thing, it just has a domino effect, and it has a massive impact on the lives of a lot of people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Good job.
And do you want a few other things that
come this? So what
our professional development, we are awesome. We've done hundreds of sessions this year for our local realtors, from industry-related things to networking, just realtor safety. We've had some issues with some, and I don't want to say gentlemen, but they were men that are phoning up, just blonde realtors, phoning up realtors and inviting them to a farm that they don't own.
Oh.
So we've had quite a lot of issues happen in our vast area, not just here. We had it in Peterborough, and realtor safety is very important. So we hosted 3 different realtor safety sessions across the region to make sure that realtors know how to protect themselves, what to do.
Wow.
And, we also offer the tools that go along with that. So
and
really
so
important
what was
to
some
us.
of the feedback from the realtors who attended then? Did they
Like,
Vicky was there. It was very...
Yeah, it was really impactful, powerful messages. The instructors, they had fallen victim of violence in the past.
oh wow, so they were then trying to make it so that other people didn't suffer the same experience. Wow.
That's right. Yeah. So
Right.
it was, it was great events. And we actually added one, didn't we? Because we had so many attend in two of the areas, so we added another one into another area to make sure that it was available to all realtors.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, good job there. So I didn't know any of this. Like,
And again, CLAR led the pace with so the Ontario Ontario Real Estate Association got on the bandwagon for safety, and we wrote the grant application so that other smaller associations could also take and offer realtor safety, because it is a costly education session to offer to the members.
Sure.
We wanted to help everyone in Ontario to be able to offer that to their realtors, so that realtors across Ontario could do it.
that's fantastic.
And then lastly, near and dear to my heart, the Ontario Realtors Care Foundation. So in 2019, I was the president of the Ontario Realtors Care Foundation. Last year they gave $1.9 million back to shelter-based charities across Ontario, and we are proud to say at the Central Lakes that we gave $50,000 this year to the foundation, and fundraising hasn't finished. We just had a big event last Thursday, one yesterday, and we have another one in Belleville next week.
Wow.
So realtors are by far the most generous people. Yesterday,
I've seen that myself.
a Santa sock yesterday raised $900.
Wow. What's a Santa sock?
Well, we have one of our retired realtors from Peterborough, aka Santa, plays Santa at events, and he just stands at the door with the sock, and 150 realtors came in and donated all that money to charity yesterday.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and the Kawartha food share bin was overflowing with food that our realtors brought in. It's just heartwarming.
So that doesn't surprise me, because I've seen the generosity of realtors in a whole variety of different scenarios in my experience. But the thing that I'm getting a much clearer picture. In fact, I didn't even know that realtors were supported in this way. I kind of have this impression of realtors being solopreneurs for the most part. Obviously, some have teams and they have their offices and brokerage. But like, I had this impression of like almost like a lone wolf, where, they are just kind of doing business by themselves, and whatever problems they have to figure it out for themselves. But you guys are there to support them.
Yeah, in some situations we have realtors that run charities on their own, but if they don't have that opportunity, then they have it through the association. Really taking advantage of what we can offer them and what we offer our communities.
Yeah. So how do you guys feel like about being able to provide that? Because obviously, Vicky, you had a career in real estate. I don't know, Wendy, did you?
I was corporate and then not-for-profit for the last 30-ish years.
Right. But like, what is it like for you to be able to, advocate for, serve, equip them with the tools to be successful, be safe? Like this seems like a pretty special thing that you guys are doing.
I feel our realtors are lucky. We have a staff here. Our team at CLAR is second to none. So they phone the IT support, they phone our CFO, our accounts. So they're lucky, they're supported. They can ask any question. So, I feel our realtors are very lucky in that.
Right.
And I take pride in being able to help our realtors. And if they put an idea forward and they want something, we'll work on that for them. So, because if they want it, I'm sure there's other realtors out there that are looking for that as well.
Fantastic. Well, thanks. Now I feel like I know what CLAR is and what CLAR does. That's awesome. And so we're going to talk about the rules, right? But before we talk about the new PropTech rules, I wanted to kind of set the tone for that by finding out like what were some of the problems and challenges that were happening that were the reason that these new rules were brought in. And I don't know whether you want to speak a little bit to that, Wendy, or whether we should bring Tracy.
Yeah, so actually Tracy will talk as well, but I was on a joint task force with CEOs across Ontario when PropTechs came in. So we were us and the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board were the only two prop techs boards until last year, and then other associations have came on the prop techs. So we took all of their rules, all of our rules, and we've done so the new rules came out of a joint force of everyone coming together to make what the best of the best rules were. And also, Vicky's going to talk about things that happen out there in the market that needed to be that needed to have stricter rules.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. Well, thanks very much for joining us, Wendy. Appreciate it. And thank you for your service.
Very nice to meet you. Have a great day.
This very first episode of the Zero BS Real Estate Podcast is brought to you by my own company, Reid Media Agency. Getting great media to market your listings and market yourself shouldn't be difficult. That's BS. We've captured over $1 billion worth of real estate in the East GTA and Northumberland, and we deliver proven marketing made simple for top realtors. So don't settle for poor quality media, unresponsive service, and unpredictable availability. You've got way too many other things to deal with. Book your shoot by phone, text, or 24/7 online or on our mobile app. And if you mention the Zero BS Real Estate Podcast, we'll give you $50 credit towards your first booking with us. So, Vicky, what were some of the issues or problems or like incidents or whatever that have, set the scene for the new rules that have been brought in on December the 2nd?
Okay, so first I'm going to note that not all of the rules are new. Some were already there.
Okay.
But as far as having a broader reach of the MLS, like prop techs, it gives more consistency to how we operate.
Can I pause you for a second there? What is prop tech? So I know that they are they maybe I don't know. What is prop tech?
So prop techs is our MLS supplier.
Right.
So
it's basically it's like kind of IBM make computers, prop tech makes MLS systems almost.
Kind of, sort of. Yeah, I guess that's it's a simple way to.
I'm a simple man, Vicky. So that's how I need to understand these things.
I wouldn't say you're simple.
But they design and build and architect the systems.
So yeah, they've built this MLS system, and it was great for us to be involved grassroots or in the beginning, because we were able to make some suggestions on what we would need for our members.
Right.
For example, waterways is a big thing in our area, especially to the north. So having the availability of all the waterways to a system that was designed by realtors, or I shouldn't say realtors, maybe a company that traded mostly with condos. Right. So being able to provide that feedback to them was very valuable.
Right. So the system is then going to be better set up for the needs of the people in this area and in this.
To all of the people, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So sorry, I interrupted you.
So that's okay.
So what were some of the problems or challenges or incidents that have kind of paved the way for the new rules and the ones that are being maybe reclarified, if that's what's going on?
So. Maybe an agent would send his clients to a property with a lockbox code.
Without the agent
being
there,
present.
Okay. I can see that being a problem. That's kind of obvious.
Right? Yeah. We have a code of ethics that we are bound by. Mm-hmm. And this is a huge disservice to. So
I can think of a number of different consequences and impact of that, but what happened?
Well, a complaint would have to come in,
right?
Whether it be from a seller or another realtor, and then professional standards would have to handle that. Or if they made a complaint to RICO, who's our governing body again,
right?
A complaint being made to them, and fines would be
right.
service to them.
And so something like that, presumably the realtor probably, not that it's in any way excusable, but just trying to get into the mentality. They might feel that, this client is trustworthy, and so I know it's against the rules, but maybe it's okay this time. But like, how do you feel that would affect the seller? Like, what would, especially like, say for example, if the seller's living there,
Yeah.
right? Like, I'm just trying to put myself in that situation. That's bloody awful.
It is. I don't know that I can really get into the mindset of.
But it's like a
realtor.
safety issue.
Right.
It's like,
yeah. There's so many things wrong with it.
that seller could have potentially felt very, very unsafe in their own home.
Violated,
right?
for sure. Yeah, exactly. And there's another example where, well, during COVID, you don't use somebody else's washroom. And there was some safety protocols that we wanted to make sure were in place. And using a washroom of a seller, it was a big no-no. And even I've heard of, somebody walking through the house and taking a piece of fruit just out of a fruit bowl and serving.
Someone who's doing a showing would just take a piece of fruit.
Well,
as if
their client. Oh, I don't know who it was exactly, but that they took.
Well, but isn't that like when you go into a hotel and like there's like chocolates and there's stuff, like you just take it? Like, is that not okay?
No, it's not okay. I mean, really, the rules just provide some consistency to some standards in which realtors are supposed to operate.
Which you would like to think are kind of common sense and decency, but
sometimes common sense isn't that common.
Okay. So the rules then that have been brought in, I mean, we've had tons and tons of questions, right? Because, we've had agents calling us like, is this allowed and is that allowed in listings and stuff like that? That's in terms of like photography and video and media. I know there's other things in terms of descriptions and other stuff as well. Like what's the ultimate objective with these new rules that have been brought in? Like what is it trying to achieve in the industry?
Like I said, I think it's just trying to create some standards in which we're supposed to operate, which is, it's a great thing. Really, it provides clarity on what is allowed and what's not allowed. And if you choose not to follow the rules, there's fines associated with that.
So it brings that accountability.
Absolutely.
And from those examples that you gave, and obviously there's tons of others that we could go on all day, but it sounds like it's not that you guys are being bureaucratic and you're on a power trip and just enforcing rules just because you want to be able to tell people what to do. This actually seems like it's really important for agents and buyers and sellers to be able to actually, not be negatively impacted by these issues.
Yeah, and I mean, these new rules are the PropTech's MLS rules. Right. I mean, we have all kinds of rules that we're bound by, but the new ones that have just been released are specific to the MLS.
Right. Okay. So, is there an MLS administrator at the Central Lakes Association of Realtors?
Yeah. So Tracy McCormick is our all things MLS rules.
Could someone maybe see if they can find Tracy? Is she around somewhere?
Yeah. Let's bring Tracy.
Okay, let's bring Tracy on. So Tracy McCormick. I don't know why I have such a difficult time with that last name. Thanks for joining us, Tracy. So what is it? What's your role as the MLS administrator? So what are you responsible for?
So I actually help out with system support. I help answer questions. I also handle the MLS rules, so more the beginning stages.
Right.
Ensure our members are aware of the rules, are abiding by them. A lot of what I do is education and just follow up. Right.
Just so that everything, there's a good awareness and clarity about all of these different rules. And okay, cool. Excuse me. And so a lot of the rules that I have become aware of recently relate to my business as a real estate media company, because I've had lots of clients call me and ask me, like, is this allowed or is that allowed? Or like, what does this mean? So I was hoping that you could help bring some clarity to that, and I've got some examples that to take a look at, right? So let's take a look. And you go through the listings and you're responsible for flagging things that are against the rules.
That's correct. So
right.
We actually use a system that identifies certain rule violations, but for things like photos, we always have to double check that stuff ourselves, so they come in by complaints.
Right.
You can definitely take a look at
Okay.
what you brought.
So I'm going to show you them in a second, but before I do, can you tell me what is the main objective that hopes to be achieved with these new rules as it relates to listings and how properties are presented? Like, what is it that you're trying to do?
So similar to what Vicky mentioned earlier, the new rules seek to unify and harmonize the requirements for realtors using the PropTX system across the province.
Right.
It's providing more clarity on these rules, and it's providing the members and their clients with more accurate and timely access to the data.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note too, it's making sure that the property is represented accurately,
Right.
right?
Right.
So it's especially with the use of AI and
Right. Because now there's so much that can be done so easily to,
Right. Yeah.
I guess, misrepresent a property.
Yeah.
And so that is, so, I mean, I can think of a couple of different ways, but what are the main ways that having rules and having clear rules and having rules that are up to date, what are the main ways that benefits like agents and buyers and sellers?
Well, I think it's protection for consumers too, right? I think
Right.
that's when you boil everything down.
So is it kind of like an advertising standards almost? It's so that like things, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, if people are committing time and they are, making decisions based on things that are presented to them, those things have got to be accurate.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Okay. Well, let's take a look to see if what I'm about to show you is accurate or not. So this first one, I've had quite a few clients call and ask me, are virtual twilight photos okay? So there is a virtual twilight photo right there. Is this permissible?
It's permissible as long as it's an accurate representation of the property and any features of the exterior of the property.
Right.
So as long as that twilight sky does not block any power lines or hydro towers or anything like that,
Right.
that is actually visible from the property if someone were to be standing on the street outside,
Right.
then it's totally permissible to use.
Right. Okay. Because otherwise, if this looks all dreamy and someone arrives and there's like crazy power lines to the point where they
Yes.
could never ever enjoy that view.
Exactly.
Right. What if we were to take that and we were to do that? Would that be permissible?
No. So it looks like there's eaves trough lighting in there, and that the
Driveway lighting.
driveway lighting. So no, that's a misrepresentation of
Right.
the property for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the clarity that I'm hoping to bring by actually showing examples, right? So the next example I want to show you, you mentioned this, Vicky, and you didn't mention this specific kind of example, but I was very surprised. This is a photograph of the interior of a house, and obviously this is a site that's still under development. Would it be okay just to kind of like help people to feel the ambience to do that?
No.
No?
We have to accurately represent the property, and in this photo, there's suddenly a beach just showing outside the windows. And when a buyer or potential buyer were to actually arrive at the property, they would never see that. So it's
Right.
not an accurate representation.
Yeah. So this is one where we've kind of gone a little bit tongue-in-cheek and a
just
bit
a little
extreme.
bit,
But
yeah.
like I have heard that views of certain landmarks or certain amenities that aren't actually viewable out the window. They've been. Did you mention that like the CN Tower was?
I did mention that. So I had heard that from another realtor, and
Right.
I'm sure, when somebody put together that photo, it was, meant as in tongue in cheek and as a joke.
Right.
But you can't misrepresent
Yeah.
the property, or the same property if it was, they just forested around instead of a beach. It still
Right.
would misrepresent.
Right.
The property might be, right?
Yeah, because that's not the view out of the
No.
window at any point in
No.
time, right? Another one. So this is a photograph of a vacant home, and obviously some agents are going to stage homes. When a home is not staged, we would sometimes do virtual staging, right? So would it be acceptable to virtually stage this room and put that in an MLS listing?
It is. So
Right.
under our new MLS rules, you are allowed to virtually stage property virtually stage a room as long as the staging is an accurate depiction of the space and the dimensions.
So, how big would you guess this room? Like, is this a big room? Is it a small room? Is it somewhere in between? Would you say, like, just eyeballing it?
Yeah, it's a smaller bedroom.
It's a smaller bedroom,
yeah. For sure.
So if we were going to virtually stage that and we did that?
Yeah. So you can see, like, a bed would probably be tight around the walls, right?
Not much space for much else?
No.
So if we were to do that, is that okay?
No, if it makes it look like it's got more space than it actually has, then
Right.
it would not be an accurate representation, so it would fall under one of our rule violations.
Right, okay. Now, when it comes to video, this is something which I think is going to need quite a bit of clarification. So this is a video that shows the home, but then in addition to showing the home, we were also asked by the realtor to show the local community. And so we've gone to locations that are not next to the home. And so what would this be regarded as in terms of the new rules? Like, is this acceptable?
Okay.
Unfortunately not.
Okay.
So under our new rules, you can only show the property and amenities that are visible from the property.
Right.
If that amenity is not visible from the property, it cannot be shown.
Right.
Aerial photos, aerial videos are okay, again, as long as the listed real estate is visible in those images.
Right. So we could show, like, say, for example, if there's a home that is 2 blocks away from the beach, right? If we were to not take a shot of us standing on the beach, but if we were to take an aerial photo with a drone that shows the property, and then also shows a view of the beach, then that's okay?
That's okay, as long as
Right.
the property's in that drone.
Right, okay. This is the clarity that certainly a lot of people I've spoken to were looking for. And then this is something which you see a lot, especially in higher end homes. More of a lifestyle video where there are people interacting with the space. Is this something permissible?
So I am seeking further clarifications on things like that, but under our new MLS rules, people or I guess cartoon characters, avatars of people are not supposed to be in the photos or the videos either.
Right.
We have previously allowed realtors to be in videos as long as they're just describing the property and not themselves.
Right.
But the lifestyle videos, to my knowledge, will not be allowed to continue.
Right. And what about those videos of the realtors if they are not actually branding themselves or stating their name or, giving contact information in the video? Are they still able to be on camera talking about the property?
I believe so. It's something I am seeking clarification. These rules are new for me as well. So
Right.
as questions are brought forward to me, I am following up with the PropTX
Right.
to make sure I'm aware of everything as well, so I could pass that information on to my members.
Right.
Just a quick update for you. Since we recorded this conversation, Tracy was able to get clarification from PropTech. So let me read that for you. They said that for virtual tours, the listing salesperson or salespeople are still allowed to show themselves in the video and describe the property. They are not permitted to introduce themselves or their brokerage or have any form of branding on the video. Now, this is really interesting because the realtors that I've spoken to, most of them have been on the impression that they are not actually allowed to be in the video. But this categorically says that they are, as long as they don't introduce themselves or brand the video in any way. So if you want to give a tour on a video and have that on MLS, PropTech says that you can. They also said no one else is allowed in the video aside from the listing salesperson or salespeople. So those lifestyle videos will not be permitted on our system. Though members are still permitted to use those types of videos on their own personal websites and social media pages. All right, let's get back to the conversation.
I just want to be clear, though, these lifestyle videos and other videos that are being used in social media and on a realtor's private pages
Right.
are all still allowed.
Oh, right, of course.
Yeah, we're just talking about on the MLS, when you're advertising a property on MLS, but it's still a great option for social media.
Right. But the MLS listing has to just show the property. Essentially, that's the main principle.
Yeah, and you can't advertise your business or somebody else's business or signs.
Right. So, that's actually, I got a question from another one of my clients who asked, they mentioned about the identifying brands. I think what she said was that if she was going to write a description for MLS for a home, she would be able to name the builder, I think she said was her understanding, but she wouldn't be able to say like the kitchen was installed by like Johnson's Kitchens, or she wouldn't be able to, reference the brands of the appliances or anything like that.
That's
have I got that clear?
We've been running a number of education sessions for our members recently about the new rules, and I've been working with realtors for 10 years. Some of these questions I think of myself just from my own experience, but sometimes these are things I don't think of because I'm not a realtor myself.
Right.
So as the questions have been brought forward to me, I've been doing my best to find answers for them.
So then you'll seek out the answers and come back. So that was going to be my next question, actually. Like if a realtor is unsure, if they are putting a listing together and they would like to, make a statement in the description, or they're unsure about anything to do with video or whatever else, what would be a way that they can actually check that?
So we actually have the full set of rules under our member portal, which any of our members can access, and they can also contact us. I have no problem answering rules. And like I said, if I'm not sure of the answer myself, if I need further clarification because it wasn't something I had thought of previously, then I'll always find out for our members and get back to them.
Right. Okay. Cool. Any other comments about the new rules? Is there like any? So obviously, there's other rules that are not related to what we're talking about here. What would you say are some of the main ones that realtors should be aware of?
Well, I just wanted to mention the Q&A because we are putting together a Q&A from the questions that Tracy receives most at these in-person or online sessions that CLAR is holding.
Right.
Yeah. So we're putting that together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's going to be like in the form of a document, like in an FAQs.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And then what was the...
Like what other rule? Like, are there any other rules that we haven't talked about that are actually significant that people like need to know and need to have some kind of clarity on?
Just timing. The rules now require the members to update their listings by 11:59 p.m. of the following business day. So previously it was 2 business days they had. Now they have until 11:59 p.m. of the following business day.
When you say update, would that mean like if there's a change in status, like if it's sold or if it's expired or, well, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
And the wording too, because that's kind of a common one. Call listing agent for a private showing or words like that.
In the description?
Yeah, in the description.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that's not allowed anymore.
Right.
Well, it was never really allowed for them to put something like that. We also never used to allow the visit my website for further information.
That's
right.
Where under our new rules, they can put down that statement as long as it's just a generic statement saying to visit their website.
Right. Okay. So rules. Nobody likes rules. Well, maybe that's not true, but most of us don't like rules. But if you could kind of sum up, like very briefly, like what you think is going to be the benefit of these new rules, or the clarification of some rules, like to the public, to those involved in real estate, what would you say it was?
I would say generally realtors it's a great community. It's an amazing industry, and I find that they're very involved in the community. But it's just those few bad apples that we want to make sure we eliminate or stop their bad behavior.
Right. Or educate them so that they can be
That's right.
contributing members of the realtor community.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much, Tracy, for coming and joining us to talk about that. I appreciate it.
No problem.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so another thing that I think is CLAR is the market reports, right? The stats, the thing that everybody, at the beginning of every month, every realtor posts them. Does anybody know what they actually mean?
I hope so. Yeah, stats are a great tool for realtors to use.
Right.
Our stats were just released yesterday. And I don't know if you want to, they highlighted, that year over year month over month, we had a decrease in the number of sales.
Right.
And this time of year, we tend to slow down a little bit.
So it's kind of expected.
On December 15th, there's a little change in the mortgage rules, actually 2 changes. One is the possibility for 30-year mortgages, and the other one is the increased price cap for insured mortgages.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So this may provide some relief for some people who wanted to get into the market,
right.
first-time home buyers, for example.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So... Yeah. And presumably anything like that that's going to kind of stimulate and make it more accessible, that's going to be a benefit to the market.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I joked before about, does anyone actually know what the stats mean? I'm sure that everybody does. And I see them, kind of posted by, different realtors. What do you think is the, from your experience, like how widely used are they? And do they actually... provide realtors with the information they need to make meaningful decisions and to guide their buyers and sellers and help them, kind of achieve success in real estate?
For sure. So kind of twofold. So they taking the stats and then rebranding them on their socials. It's a great tool to use,
right.
As well as studying those stats. So when you're speaking to potential buyers or sellers, you sound knowledgeable about the area in which
right.
you're going to sell, right?
Right.
Yeah, the average selling price, how many days on market. Those are all kind of great talking points.
So based on these stats, but also, just everything else that you see in the industry, what do you think is to come in 2025, Vicky?
Oh, man, I wish I can say that 2025 is going to be our best real estate year ever. But
it is, right?
Oh, man, I hope so. But nobody has that crystal ball. So,
right.
You follow the stats and you listen to the experts and try to follow along as best you can. But, like I said, nobody has that crystal ball,
right.
and they may get it wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
So what advice or encouragement would you give to realtors who... are looking to create success in 2025, which is obviously all realtors. Is there anything you can tell them to encourage them and to, to kind of inspire them to move into this year with optimism and expect good results for themselves and their clients? For sure. I mean, I can give you an answer from 2 of the hats that I wear.
Right. From the CLAR president side is really get involved with the association. It has so much to offer. I mean, it's part of our mandate to be the go-to place for realtors for all resources.
Right.
So, get involved in a committee or just research what we have to offer as far as education.
Right.
And then my other hat, like my broker manager hat, I would say, December is a really great time to prepare for 2025.
Right.
Let's set some really lofty goals for ourselves and be inspired. This time of year is a great time to get inspired from other realtors and all of the things that they do in the communities and the business and success they've had.
Yeah, and come into 2025 ready to kick it, kill it, whatever.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Vicky, for joining me for this conversation. I really appreciate it.
It's been an absolute pleasure, for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks again to Vicky, Wendy, and Tracy for a very insightful conversation, for bringing clarity to the new MLS rules, and for giving me an even better understanding of how much support and community exists in real estate. Now, I want to leave you with another fun real estate fact. Did you know that 1 in 10 Americans have sold their home because of paranormal activity? And that's actually true according to a recent survey by Zillow. 1 in 10. Crazy. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let us know your biggest takeaway in the comments, and stay tuned for more unfiltered conversations on the Zero BS Real Estate Podcast. See you next time.